Hi there, and welcome. It's Psychic Cynthia here, and welcome to another video in our Runic Empowerment series to help you reboot your energy. So this is part of our positive energy reboot. And today I have with me my shaman's drum. I like to name all my instruments, or rather let the instrument reveal its name to me. But this one I've had for over 20 years now, probably nearly 25, and he is simply the shaman's drum. So my shaman's drum, I should say. Although I do think of him a bit like a dragon. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a dragon in the natural elk hide here. So, and if you're going to work with runes magically, I mean, you can start out with just chanting or meditating, but if some of you who are watching find yourself going further and really getting into it, I do recommend a nice natural frame drum like this. You'll notice this one is completely unpainted. I never have felt the urge to get it painted, but you can have one that is painted, and most people do, by the way. I think that with shaman drum here being unpainted, it just really accentuates more of its natural energy. So anyway, a drum is great for working with the runes, especially with the rune we'll be talking about today, which is Othala, which is rune number 24 or rune number 23 in the Elder Futhark. And why do I say that? Why do I say it's rune number 24 or number 23? I mean, isn't the order of the Elder Futhark pretty much fixed? Don't we always read that? You know, there is a certain sequential order that we are to follow with it. Yes, indeed there is. At least that's our understanding in modern times. But interestingly enough, these two runes switch around, and there is some reason for that. I believe it goes back to some archaeological finds and how we see it one way, you know, over here in this one find, and then another over here. But for me, like many, I believe, and it's not so much I believe, it's just how I work with the system. I don't really think it's wrong either way if you want to place Othala at 23 or 24, but I place it at 24. To me, it is the natural place where we all go home to as we cycle through the runes. So anyway, it's either the last or next to last rune. And Othala means inheritance. It is linked to the homeland, wherever your homeland is, your spiritual homeland in your heart, and your ancestors. And taking it further, the first man and woman, the ancestors of all people, because they do say, we are all connected. We are all one tribe. Ultimately, it is most likely that we all go back to, you know, first Adam, first Eve, if you want to use those terms. I don't know if I want to use those terms here. Those are awfully Christian for a Nordic rune video, but first woman and first man. Ask and Imbla, right, in the northern. So all traditions have names or ideas of this first woman and first man, and we all go back to that. Now, here's what's interesting. Even though this is the last rune, when I said to the runes, I would like to do some teachings and some videos and different things on helping people to be more healthy and more vital and getting their energy, you know, reset, rebooted, re-inspired. You know, what runes should we begin working with? How should we begin this path? I asked the runes for, you know, working with our runic health, so to speak. And surprisingly, the very first rune I drew was the last one, Othala, sometimes called Othel or Odell. And I thought that was really interesting that they wanted to begin this journey with us with Othala, but as I meditated upon it, it started to make sense, because when this rune comes up in a reading, let's say if I was doing a reading for you, just a practical level reading, you know, yes, this can actually speak about inheritance, all those lands that you've inherited, if you inherit that, but really talents and skills, DNA inheritance, whatever you inherit from your ancestors wisdom. Did your grandmother teach you how to cook? Did she teach you about spirituality? Did your mother teach you how to drive, or your father? Maybe they taught you by not teaching you. Sometimes that is an inheritance. Sometimes we learn how not to be, how we do not want to be, by watching how our parents and grandparents are. So, but really this idea with Othala goes much further back than just, 1 or 2 generations. It's the ancestors. And it's also the idea in a practical reading of, is your house in order? Literally, like your physical home, okay? Your physical house. And then we might even say that while we're here having the earthly experience, the physical house is the body, your body. So as I think about, why did the runes ask and suggest that we start with Othala, for our runic empowerment series, for raising our vibrations, for increasing our health and well-being? What they're saying here is grounding is important. Othala is the energy of grounding in the runes. It's that energy of connecting with the land. And not just land in a certain place, okay? I don't feel it is that way. I don't feel that the Othala Rune relates to just land in this one region or that region. But yes, the land where your ancestors came from, perhaps, if you have knowledge of that. But also, to me, this is the rune saying, be where you are at. In other words, you've heard the saying, grow where you are planted. So as we meditate upon Othala, as we open ourselves to the energies, the beautiful grounding energies of Othala, we will get more grounded. And just by the act of grounding ourselves, we will have more health and vitality. And conversely, if we're not grounded, if we're not connected to that which is solid, to the earth beneath our feet, to the earth, the soil which holds the bones of all of the ancestors. The bones are the dust, except for those burnt at sea. That's a different story. But this earth, this soil, the Mother Earth, she is all one. All soil connects with all soil somehow on the earth. And this contains us. This holds us. And if we don't have our feet firmly planted upon that, if you don't, if you're so much up in the upper worlds, in the ethers, and you don't know what day it is, you don't know what clothes you're wearing, you can't remember if you've taken a shower, or you can't figure out paying your bills, and you don't even want to think about it. You've got crops to grow, literally or metaphorically, but you're not tending to that. If you have gifts that you have received, that you were born with somehow, aptitudes, and you're not tending to that, then it's just going to be hard to be vital. So Othala helps us to tune into this grounding energy. Othala is also something we can do to open to the guidance of our ancestors. And I know that many people who have come to study with me or, watch these videos, especially newer people, but even some people that have been on their paths a very long time, especially if your spirituality is more New Age based rather than Earth-centered based. Not that the two have to be exclusive. I don't believe they do, myself. But if you haven't had experience with ancestor communication, with ancestor veneration, or whatever words you want to use, you may not understand the power of that in connecting with your ancestors. And I get that because I was born in my family. I was the youngest by so many years, so that so many of my elders were dying when I was young. I didn't get to know them very much. I had to know of them through other people in the family. But what a gift it is to know of our elders and also to connect spiritually, because when we die, when your elders die, when you die, we do not die, really. We do not cease to exist. Our essence continues in some form on the other side. So through ancestor communication, which is something we can do by meditating upon Othala. We open to their guidance and their wisdom and their support. And, of course, you've had all different kinds of ancestors, and some of them were wonderful and heroic, and some of them were probably a-holes and, not so outstanding. But when I say the ancestors, with a capital T, capital A, what I am meaning are the wise ones, those people in your line and my line, and just ultimately, I think all of the ancestors, again, I have a universalist approach that includes all people, that we're all connected. I mean, the ancestors are available to anyone who seeks them. I mean, heck, not enough people seek them anymore. So I think that ancestors from whatever tribe would be open to anybody who comes with a sincere heart, but especially your own family line. So be open to that, because where I'm going with this is when you open to that energy, maybe by chanting Othala, and maybe by getting out in the land that you live on, wherever you're at, like, connecting with the ancestors of that land. It's not just like your DNA ancestors, it's the natural ancestors of the land. I mean, for example, I have Native American blood in me, but I also have a lot of Celtic and probably Norwegian and different, blood streams. So just because I'm not 100% Native American, or even if my Native American tribe probably doesn't come from the area where I live now, I mean, I can still connect with the ancestors of that land, whether those ancestors be the humans who lived here before, or the fairy ancestors, the land spirits, the Vitar, as we call them in the north, the elves. And as we connect into those realms, it isn't just about like spacing out. I mean, although it's good to bliss out, isn't it? But it's more than that. It's, you seek them, you open to them, and they bring you comfort. They help to hold you up. They give you strength. So with Othala, with this rune, bringing us all back around full circle. With Othala, you can lean into that grounded energy of your ancestors, and you can find that grounded, wise ancestral spirit within yourself. And this is so vital, again, for health, for abundance, for well-being. You get it? Hopefully you do. And by the way, Othala is for the letter O in the Nordic, in the runic language when we write with it. So you can work with this rune, Othala, in any of the ways you work with any of the other runes, through meditating upon the image, through chanting its name, through drumming while singing its name, and through doing, the yoga, the runic yoga. I mean, it's actually Stodor, is what's called the runic positions. An example of a possible runic yoga for Othala, Oto. Let me see. See if I can get one going. I know you can't see my legs. I'll have to have my husband take a photo later, but here's the arms. And then my legs are just, like that. And you do need to put the legs in, because otherwise you're just kind of doing like the Ing or the Ingwaz rune. And I might look up. Othala, Othala, Othel, Odel, Oden. There. That's a little Galder, rune chanting, and Stodor together. Hopefully this gives you an idea of how to work with Othala. But mainly just open to the energy in your heart and meditate upon it, and let yourself get more grounded. Until next time, I'm Psychic Cynthia with the runes themselves, wishing you a bright and blessed day, sending you all the love in the world. Bright blessings.